Hello everyone, my name is Cong and I've been part of Central Christian Church since 2022. I wanted to share a little about my journey to Christ and how God has transformed my life in unexpected and powerful ways. I pray that my story might inspire and encourage you, whether you are a believer or still searching for answers. I grew up in a Christian home where I started serving at the age of 14, and by 18, I was leading the children's ministry. It was a humbling experience, taking care of kids aged 7 to 12, some of whose parents didn't even attend church. I saw how God enabled me to lead at a young age, to understand the limitations of my own strength, and to learn to rely on God for His provision. It wasn't always easy. Some of these kids would even throw paper aeroplanes that had profanities written on them. But even in those chaotic moments, I felt God working through me. God granted me peace, patience, and love. The love to reach out to those seemingly unlovable and the broken in society. While I was studying in school, I had to balance academics with church responsibilities. Often it felt overwhelming. My parents were worried that I was too focused in serving the church, and there were nights that I stayed up until 3 a.m. preparing lesson plans. There were even times when they tried to pull me away from the ministry and told me to focus on more pressing things like my studies, how I was not indispensable. I felt deeply called to serve, and as I continued to do so, I saw God's providence in my life. The more I served, the more I saw God taking care of the things I couldn't control. He gave me peace and purpose amid the challenges. He encouraged me in the smallest things, such as by the constant encouragement of those around me, allowing church events to fit into my schedule, and empower me to reach out to the unbelievers. God provided in terms of helping me to excel in other areas of my life, such as in studies, school leadership, and CCAs. Back then, one of those challenges was how people perceived me. Many looked down on me because of my age. It wasn't common for someone so young to lead a ministry, but God gave me strength and purpose, showing me that He could work through everyone. He even gave me a vision for my life, leading me to pursue a career in medicine that places me in a position to be able to influence and personally touch the lives of those under me. In my youth, I was involved with Singapore Youth for Christ, where I was introduced to Christian apologetics. That was a turning point for me, using logic to defend the Bible. I began to take God's word more seriously, not just as something I grew up with, but as the foundation of my life. Before this, I was focused on chasing prestige and ascending the societal standings, and focused so much on making my parents proud. I sought my parents' affirmation by showing results and performing well both in school and in church. But as I studied the Bible, I realized that God was calling me to pursue Him, not the world's approval. The more I tried to live for my parents' affirmation, the more strained our relationship began. One of the most significant struggles in my faith journey was my relationship with my parents. At one point, it got so bad that I almost left the church after a heated argument. I was trying so hard to chase after their affirmation, trying to make them proud, but it only led to more and more conflict and hurt both our prides. However, God in His grace called me to repair that relationship. As I was learning more about God and what it was to love, I learned about humility. In Ephesians chapter 4, verse 2 to 3, it writes, "Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace." I learned to apologize and to seek reconciliation. Even when it was difficult, and over time, God amended my relationship with my parents in ways I thought never possible. 2 years ago, Dana, my fiancée now, invited me to Central Christian Church. It was here that I truly began to understand what it meant to own my own faith. I had always believed, but God gave me a new perspective. He taught me humility, especially in my relationships. For the first time, I was able to fully reconcile with my parents, to approach them with love and grace rather than pride or frustration. God transformed my heart, and in doing so, He transformed the relationships around me. both in my family and with the children that I serve with in the ministry. Looking back at my journey with God, I saw how God was there at every step of the way, forming my moral compass and guide. He was there through my struggles, my victories, doubts and moments of faith. In my pursuit of the world, I found that there was a never-ending void that I strived to fill, but always failed in doing so. I often drowned out God by taking matters into my own hands, only to find that I always ended up coming back to Him. Following Christ is not about having all the answers or having a perfect life. It's all about surrendering to God's will and trusting that He knows what is best for us. In my line of work, I see patients day in and day out, from life's first cry to their last breath. But at the end of the race of life, people do not look back at their trophies nor their graduation certificates. Rather, they seek love, represented by their families and loved ones. I always perceive the Bible as God's canvas in portraying His love for us, His redemption grace. Whether you're a believer, or someone who is struggling with doubt, or someone still searching for answers or truth, I want to encourage you. God is real, and He is always working, even when we can't see it. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope that in some small way, it has touched your heart and reminded you of God's incredible love and power to transform lives. Thank you.